Hey, good evening, guys. How you doing? Good to see y'all. And there's something different tonight, and I'm old, so I have an excuse. But you may notice that there is a background on the back of my chair, but no background anywhere else. Evidently, I forgot to roll down my green screen. So hang in there, guys. You'll get to see it. This is not something I do every day, but we will roll down the whole drone wall. Here it comes. Here it comes. Look at that. That's amazing. I guess I'm out of practice. Okay, that's better. That's better. So how you doing, everybody? Got a few people here. Let's see who's in the house. Got Jody, Drone Shots. How you doing, buddy? Jody was here at 3 something this afternoon. Bob Casey, good to see you. Thanks for the plug on Mel's stream. I appreciate it. I was kind of lurking in the background, but I was busy trying to get set up here. Obviously, I didn't do it completely. Time to fly. How you doing, Joe? Jaybird, good to see you. Dan is here. Drone Worship Moto Vlogs. Same guy, different name. How you doing, Dan? Art's here in the green room, and who else we got? We got AZ Drone Dude. Good to see you, my friend. And Doan Brum is here. Bone Drum. Ah, cool. How many accounts do you have, Paul? Good to see you. Oh, he's back. Drone Bum. Okay, now I can start, he says. And that's it. Jody's here. Time to fly in. That brings us up to date. Carlos just popped in, and he'll be in to join us. And for those of you who got StreamYard links from me, I put a little love note in there with it. You probably all try to figure out why I put that in there. And I've been watching. You know, I always watch my live streams afterwards and try to see, you know, if I'm getting across what I want to get across. And one of the things I noticed is that when I'm trying to explain things of a technical nature, my panel, in their ambitious zealousness to do their job that I gave them, and that is keep an eye on the chat, just jumps in right in the middle of a thought that I'm having and says hello to somebody in the chat, or stops me in the mid-word and says somebody's got a question. And I notice that this happens a lot, and half the time I never get back to what I was talking about before. So I asked everybody to kind of let me guide the dialogue, and that doesn't mean that you can't interrupt me if something comes up, but try to do it at a time where I'm not like mid-sentence talking about something complicated. What I've noticed about this Sunday night show is it seems to be less technical stuff and less FPV related stuff, and more just another panel deal with 6 guys talking about everything under the sun, from movie stars to the weather, politics, and everything else. And that's not the purpose. That's not what I want for this. And I want people to, when they tune in, ask questions if they have technical things. And if I can help, I can. I'm not the world's foremost authority on this stuff, but I have a good handle on the basics. Who else? Agent K is here. Hey, how you doing, Agent K? Good to see you. So with that little start, let me bring Art in here, and behave yourself, Art. No music. Okay. This is a technical. We're doing less comedy, more technical.
Hello, Rick Halber. Dan. Oh, sorry.
See? I'm going to try to keep it under control, and I do always have the remove from stream button here. These guys don't behave themselves. But let me, to show my appreciation to Art, he did send me this lovely Christmas card. It says, "Hello, Winter." Inside, let me read the inscription, "Merry Christmas." Must have forgot that I was Jewish, but that's okay. Merry Christmas, and keep. I wonder if you put this, if he just Xeroxed this message to everybody. Did you do that, Art? Did you write the same message to everybody? Well,
No.
Merry Christmas, and keep them flying. You are a winner in our hearts. Thank you, Art. I appreciate it. I really do. It's very nice of you, and that's one more Christmas card than I send out every year. So I do appreciate it. And then I found out that he sent one to Ken Huron, and then that, I didn't feel special anymore. Art, I didn't feel special anymore. Okay, and my next panelist is our friend from 100 miles north of me, the flying lunatic himself.
Mr. Ed.
Hey, Ed.
Hey, Ed.
Say something, Ed, so we can see if you can hear you.
Howdy, everybody.
Oh, there you go. Okay, good. Good.
Happy Kwanzaa.
Yeah, Kwanzaa. Well, I think today is the first day of Hanukkah. I think so. I don't,
No, it's second or third day. I
Is
think
it already? You
Thursday.
probably even follow that more closely than I do, because I am not a ritual religious kind of a guy. So
One of the conservative shows I follow on the radio in the morning, he's Jewish, so and he's like you. He's not really a practicing Jew, but he announced tonight at sundown is the first night of Hanukkah, and that was Thursday.
Oh, okay. Well, when I was a kid, Hanukkah was a big deal because you got 8 presents. You got one present a night for 8 nights. I mean, and we had that over to Christian kids, because they only had one big morning, but we felt special because of that, and I kind of like that. And in fact, I still have out in my credenza in the other room the actual what they call menorah that holds the candles from my childhood. The one that we used to use to light the candles, and I think it may still have some 70-year-old candle wax on it.
Do you still have your dreidel?
I have most of that stuff. I still have all the paraphernalia from my bar mitzvah when I was 13. The shawl that you wear and the thing what they call tefillin, which are things I don't know if you've seen. You wrap up on your arms and you put them on your head. They're little boxes that it's all. It's heritage as far as I'm concerned, and
You didn't
for
do
that I
yours in
appreciate it.
Klingon like Fraser's son did.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. And Ed, I said hi to you like 10 times. RC funds diversions. So.
I said hi to John. I said I'd try and behave myself.
Oh, okay. Well.
The operative word is try.
Try. Yeah. There you go. There you go. So the last musketeer is here.
Shalom, my
thank
friend.
you. Shalom. Good yunker and all that. Yeah.
You were talking about those phylacteries and the leather strap around the arm.
Yeah, they're called tefillin.
I've known it as phylacteries. I had a customer that came out with one of those, and I was like taken back for a second because it just looked different.
Yeah, and you have the leather straps all up and down your arm. Yeah,
that's for praying, right?
Yeah, it's
whatever.
Basically the high holidays, Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah.
But, like I said, I got bar mitzvahed when I was 13 and never looked back. So as far as religion goes,
I look sexy today because I'm wearing my drone bum shirt, according to my cohort down there.
Yeah,
so how'd you like those flights, Mitch?
Oh, cool! Man. That was really cool, man. And speaking of cool, There he is.
Oh, there's trouble. What's up, Danny boy, aka Dan?
What's going
Art,
on?
did you see my video?
No, I've been
Probably
busy
why I don't visit your channel. Anyway, what's up? What's up, Mr.
Hey, Ray
Dan?
Kelly.
Nice to
See
see
Ray
you.
Kelly here. Ray Kelly's in
And
it.
everyone in chat. All right, I'm going to be
Albert?
quiet and you take over there, boss.
Okay. I just well, let's start out. I'll tell you what I wanted to accomplish tonight. If you remember last week, we had you had your problem with mapping the different channels on the radio to the channels on the drone, Ed's drone, and I was trying to explain that in a meaningful way, and it's really just the basics. Why are you? Oh. You're still pointing at Ed. Okay. Ed, are you still there? Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I thought I would do, and this may bore a lot of guys, but I'm going to try to do it fairly rapidly, is talk about the relationship between the radio transmitter on one end and its settings and the betaflight settings on the other hand. And what it does with the radio signals that come in. I'm hearing a little bit of an echo here from somebody. Is that Dan? Is that you? No?
I got headphones in, man.
Okay. Is it Ed? Art, I don't know.
Poor Art's fingers. You don't know.
I don't know who he's pointing at. Yeah.
Hey, we still
think he's-
love you.
I'm sorry, I couldn't.
I'm sorry, Art. I think he was
That's-
pointing. I think he was
That's
pointing
why
at
I
you.
suck at the grocery store when I ask someone to read something for me. I go, could you get that for me?
Yeah.
No, I'm pointing over there,
Over
not
there.
over there.
Between you and
you
Ed,
guys.
Ed looks to the left when he's looking at you. You point down when you're pointing straight.
Yeah. Well, you got to point. You got to point backwards. You get used to it after a while on these live streams. So, guys, I don't know how many of you have seen this picture yet, but I'm going to go ahead and
yes.
make myself big and probably leave it this way so I don't keep jumping back and forth. And I know it makes you guys postage stamp size, but I don't care. This thing here was on a tweet from that Osita LV guy, and it's probably the best picture that I've seen of that DJI FPV drone. Have you guys seen this picture yet?
Yeah, Andy's getting blasted for it right now.
Who put it out there? Do you know?
I don't know. The first time I saw it was Andy RC did a video about it and wherever he got the picture, but he's
This picture here.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's getting massively trolled because I think he was the first one to release the photo.
Doesn't matter. I mean, they want this
What's the
stuff.
big deal?
They want this stuff out there.
Everybody's calling it clickbait. So
Well, of course it's clickbait. I mean, that's
was the idea, right?
Everybody who's trying to make some money at YouTube is forced. You have to use clickbait, just like the morning news on TV has to tease you with a story and make you wait till the end of the newscast to hear the story. So you watch the whole newscast.
I don't watch the news, so
Well, I don't either anymore.
Mitch,
But this,
you're not on a roll, but I'm letting you know there's already a question out there from Time to Fly.
oh, okay. What's the question?
He says, I have a question. When I connect my quad to Betaflight, why don't I see Acro mode in the mode settings?
Okay, if you're talking about the on the modes tab, there is no mode for acro mode. Acro is the absence of any other mode being set. It's the default mode. So in other words, if you have a switch set up for angle mode or you have a switch set up for horizon mode, when neither one of those are active, it will default to angle. And if you have air mode on in your display, it won't say it'll default to acro. It'll say air instead. So generally, when you see air mode, you're in acro. And that's part of what I'm going to go over a little later when we get to that setup of the basic radio transmitter setup and how it relates to Betaflight in the setting of the modes and switches and channel mappings stuff like that there. But anyway, let's take a look at this because I haven't really looked it over. But that does not look like, I'm looking at this camera, that doesn't look like a gimbal to me. It looks just like a camera tilt mechanism. I don't see more than one axis on this thing. Do you?
I do not. However, it could be done in EIS.
Well, that's true, and I'm sure they probably have some electronic stabilization, but I'm talking about a mechanical.
No,
I
yeah,
don't
nothing.
think it's designed to be a gimbal. I think it's designed to just be able to tilt the camera up and down. And whether it does it automatically as you change your flight angles, all that would do in an FPV flight is screw you up. Can you imagine if your camera was moving around while you were flying?
We really don't know, because if you look at the left side of it versus the right side, you'll notice there's a severe difference. There's a lack of hub right there.
Yeah.
So with it being a one axis, I have to assume that maybe that pulls forward and locks into place, and it might become a third axis. So the fact that the left side doesn't have the large hub it doesn't seem like a one. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't seem like a one axis if that was the case.
Yeah, I think this is just, that's hard to say. We're looking at this thing, it looks like this area on the left side is just where the swivel.
Is that just to service the camera?
Holds that side
Also?
of the camera mount, and on this side they've got some kind of motor involved to actually tilt it up and down.
Right.
Yeah, and then these things here,
Obstacle avoidance is what it looks like.
could they possibly be?
Why would you want to?
I don't know. The arms look pretty beefy.
Still, one hit
And-
done.
Yeah, and these things here seem to go back quite a way underneath the motor. They seem to be like airfoil shaped, maybe to make them more rugged. But if that isn't the ugliest thing I have ever seen.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's like the pacer of quads.
Yeah, I tell you, I was watching a Star Trek Voyager, and I told you that some of the alien spacecraft that they have in these Star Trek movies look just like this. If you took the legs off of this, you'd have it. I don't know.
That's not something I would buy and crash. It's not like our other stuff. That's something like you'd never want to crash, unfortunately. It just doesn't look like a crashable machine. Like,
Nah.
I don't know. It's more like a cinematography FPV.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Dan. I think that the purpose of this is not going to be for ripping through bandos. I think the purpose is going to be dipping.
I'm surprised they. Go ahead.
Dipping
I
their
thought you were done.
toes. No, that's all right. Dipping their toes in the water to get into to start putting out bigger, heavier, and more expensive cinematic type FPV drones for movie industries and things like that. But we'll see. Anyway, I saw that today, and I hadn't seen it on many lives. I haven't been looking at too many YouTube videos.
What is the high end GoPro cost nowadays? $300?
Nah, like 450, isn't it?
So if you put a high end GoPro on a $300 or $400 quad, isn't it much cheaper than this thing, and you get the same results as long as you fly it right?
It's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, this thing is going to have,
And that's high end. I'm talking about.
but
Right.
that's not. But they're not aiming this quad at and most of us that are already flying FPV. They're aiming this quad at guys that haven't flown FPV, are probably DJI camera drone pilots.
I don't know if that's a beginner looking quad in the slightest, man. I think that's an advanced pilot quad that you never
think?
want to crash. Yeah.
I think it's going to have enough automation to it where you can probably fly it at any level.
That would totally
It does full acro, just like any other acro bird, for the most part.
That I would imagine if they're calling it FPV, although FPV doesn't mean acro, FPV means first person view, and by that definition, a Mavic is FPV too. If you look at the screen or put a pair of goggles on.
I guess I really don't understand the audience they were aiming this at, unless
That's
like
what
you said, Hollywood. I get, but even then, we still don't know what its capabilities are. So I really can't figure out where they were aiming.
All I know is everybody's going to buy them.
You think so?
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Well, not you and I, but I think they're.
I don't think
they'll-
so.
People buy anything that DJI puts out in mass.
But don't you have
quantities.
to buy goggles along with this?
I think they're going to sell it the whole kit. It's going to come with the goggles, the radio, and who knows what else. Anyway, we'll see.
Batteries.
There's there's rumors that DJI's got announcing something on the 15th on Tuesday. So I don't know. Maybe this might not be.
The day DJI stops working with the FAA, I will consider purchasing their products again. Until that happens, I have no interest.
So
I'm sorry.
I see.
Don't you feel, Mitch, that we have the capability to make our own personal decisions? Like if you buy a gun and you go out and do something stupid with it, you're held accountable. Nobody's stepping in and telling you how to use your gun or your car or your personal. Like you bought it, it's yours. You have the rights over it. It's your property. So when I feel like I buy something that essentially has the ability to tell me what to do, right, or when it's going to do something, that just doesn't seem right to me. I feel like they've taken personal choice out of the matter, which I just can't agree with. You know.
All right. Okay.
It's national security, Dan. Come on.
Well,
this is not the. I wanted to show that thing, but this isn't the direction I wanted the show to go.
Oh
in.
well, I just had a question. That's the only question.
I mean, we could sit and talk for days about personal freedom and geofencing, but DJI's got a definite market for this. The only thing that's staying legal and flying FPV in over after the next few years, when this remote ID is in full bloom, is going to be very hard to do, because nothing with Betaflight will be approved for remote ID. Nothing with any open source software whatsoever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it may be that the only way we'll be able to fly legally FPV is to buy a prepackaged soup to nuts unit like this one from DJI, and I think they're just sticking their toe in the water right now, because it may be, unless a bunch of other manufacturers stand up and with proprietary operating systems that can't be fooled with by the end user, and getting it pre-approved by the government.
I mean, where does this all end though? We're like 250 grams or under? Like,
no, because what will happen, Dan, is as soon as they see everybody's getting away with 250, that'll just disappear. They'll just change their minds. You know, well, we decided that these 250 gram drones are now way too complicated and way too fast, and so we're going to make it 50 grams now. You know, that's the problem with these lawmakers is you can't count on the rules. You can't count on the rules anywhere, because they're everywhere. They're changing the rules midstream. So the best you can do is just bob and weave and react. Wear sneakers.
Just gonna fly.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of flying,
hey, we got
look
the
at
House of Hope.
It's my country bumpkin friend.
FPV,
whatever,
FPV.
crybaby. You're
I
one
saw
minute.
Ken Hearn was trying to come in, but all I saw was a white picture. He was trying to come into the panel, but
He comes in. If he needs in, Mitch, kick me out, buddy.
No, I'm a paid subscriber. I could put 10 people in this nonsense.
You the
now.
man, huh?
Yeah, man. I took advantage of their special, but I don't know if Ken is around or not. But hi, Ken. How are you?
What's up, Mr. Chris? Nice to see you.
I'm good.
So, Chris, I was very impressed with your FPV practice video that you put up.
Yeah, I got to fly one more buddy before I wrecked it and tore it up again. You know, when it hit my truck door, it didn't do no damage.
Yeah, I saw the truck. I saw you hit the truck door.
But when it hit the curb, it broke the antenna lead off the FR Sky off the all the transmitter. Hey, I need to catch this.
Okay, we'll be here.
Yeah.
So
I like Chris's flying over asphalt. Brave individual. Impressive.
all right, so let's catch up with the chat here, and then maybe we can get started on some of this stuff that I want to try to do here tonight. Yeah, your videos, Carlos, were cool, man. The mall video, the office video.
Got my drone bum cohort. Gives me strength. He's like back there hanging out, looking tough.
I'm not getting away with any of that mall stuff down here. I try that mall stuff, I'm in trouble.
Even with a whoop?
Yeah, bro.
Nothing?
Nah, I'm not.
Early in the morning?
Yeah,
No?
I'm not even gonna push my luck with the way police around here are.
Like, what could they do? Say, go away? Tell
I
them,
don't
you know what?
know.
This was the story. The story was I was going to tell whoever, me and my friend are planning to open up a kiosk, and we're trying different areas to see where we can fly. Something like that. And then my favorite one, and nobody get offended, if the police bother us outside, I told Paul, I'm going to tell him right away. Is it because we're gay that you're bothering us? Just because then, you know.
I think
funny.
I think, Carlos, ideally, if I was going to do that, I would just talk to mall security, figure out how to get a hold of whoever runs the property, and find out if after
then they
they've
have
closed,
the potential of telling you no.
after they've closed, so it's just us and the place and the security, if they would allow us to do some drone races through the building at night.
There's no danger in, no adventure in that. Rather,
But if you remove,
there was never any danger.
If
really.
you remove the aspect of people altogether, then they'll feel a lot more
Look,
comfortable with
this
it.
little thing, it's amazing what this thing can do.
I get it.
That's all right, guys. I took this little puppy out. I took this thing out today.
No kissing. Oh, what's this?
The race.
Oh, yeah.
The Rick Halber sent this to
The
me.
thing is super quick.
Nice.
And so I took this little puppy out today, and I'll show you again before we. One of these days we'll actually get started on the technical stuff, but in the meantime I'll show you. Carlos, I did this for you, this flight here, and
Right turns, baby.
all kinds of right turns. So let's see. Why am I not? Oh no! Don't tell me.
Ed, by the way, in case you're wondering why I am here, is my I asked you to do that, my guest canceled, so I'm here. What's up, Ed?
It's okay if you want to come in, Ken. I promise I'll play nice.
My
Ken who?
computer is
H.
acting up. Oh, never fails. Anyway,
Ken H.
did I miss anybody in the chat to say hello? And you guys,
You missed a lot of people. Night Train, Michael.
Yeah, say
Page.
hi to everybody.
Yeah.
Say hi to everybody.
We don't know if we should interrupt with the hellos.
Yeah, well,
You
I want to
chaser.
try to, nothing I ever try to plan works out. Yeah, well, you guys ought to know that by now. So,
Ray Kelly, hello.
hey,
Oh,
Ray,
place
how
it here is Ken H.
He says he's also Ken H.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to
Place it
figure
here.
out is,
Hello, the View Chaser. Rat RH.
I said most of the hellos with text.
there we go. Okay.
You Chaser.
Here you go, Carlos. This one is for you here.
Hey, Mitch, give me 1 sec. I'm going to go heat up my tea.
All right. Make me some too, would you? Now you may say to yourself, Carlos, this is going to be a very boring flight.
Not really, although I'm looking at props. That means your camera should go up just a little bit.
Well,
Little.
it actually was tilted up, not bad, about 20, 25 degrees. But I didn't. This little thing goes so damn fast that I didn't want it to go.
second.
I didn't
Yep.
want it to go that fast.
Did
But
you do
it-
anything to this, or this is stock camera and everything?
Stock camera, stock.
Nice,
transmitter.
nice.
And I mean, I decided to just get a little more aggressive in and around the trees here with this thing, and there's a little right turn for you.
And it was no problem, right?
No, it just went where I pointed it.
There you go.
Cool.
I'm liking it. What do you think, Ed?
Who is this flying?
That's Mitch flying.
It's me.
Who's this?
Who's
Oh,
this?
I'm sorry, I was on the phone, Carly.
Oh, that's all right.
You're a pricky old fart today, ain't you?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess I get silly when I'm in a good mood. I don't know. And I didn't get any.
Let me see if I can help you get out of it.
Hitting those gaps, man.
Yeah, it was a little fun. The flight before this, I did out over most of it over the big open field, and just went up and did a bunch of did rolls and things like that. Then I said, let me move over and actually got hot out there this morning. The sun came out. The sun was hot, so I moved the chair into the shade under the trees and aimed the other way. And just
I was in a
flew.
T-shirt here today in New York. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I was
61.
in a T-shirt. I was in a T-shirt this morning.
Hey, Mick,
Looking good.
Yeah, Chris.
I did finally learn what the F3200 stands for.
Oh, okay.
So that's 200 watts power you got dialed into your tiny hawk.
Correct.
That's the channel you're on. Hey, Ken.
Hey, Ken.
Hey, Ken.
Oh, terrible connection. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we have Ken Hearn here with us tonight. I don't know if he can hear us or see us.
Hey, Mitch. Hey, guys.
Yeah.
Make that picture bigger, Mitch.
Yeah.
Want to see you flying. Please.
Can you? Am I moving?
No, you're.
What's going on
Is that
there?
you, Ken, talking? You're pretty well frozen up, I think.
Yeah.
I blame Wirecast.
Matt.
Uh,
Anyway, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. See
Now
that?
he's froze.
I have 7 people in StreamYards now. Look
yeah.
at that.
Oh, cool.
I tried this on 3 separate devices and come to the conclusion that it's your fault.
Yeah, maybe you should just set up your whole big studio for this little.
Can you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can hear you, Ken. It's just you're frozen solid.
okay. I think he said okay, bye.
Okay, yeah, it didn't work out. He never has much luck calling in here, but that's nice that he tries.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, this was my little flight, and with the little race.
All right, Mitch,
Yeah.
I want to see a few more rolls, some power loops, and some split S's. That's it. But that was
Okay.
good. That was really
All right.
good.
Well, here, maybe on this one. This is Carlos. This is the
What are we
Acrobrat.
Oh, this is a
the-
good one.
This is the Acrobrat,
Chris, you would like this. 3-inch.
and I was moving with it. Look at this.
Wow, wow, wow.
Oh yeah, I just said, you know what? I'm just going to push it on this flight. and
Did you
just
meet somebody that
have
flew
a little
FPV
fun.
and you gave him the controller? Yeah.
Let's see if you can actually hear it. Can you hear it?
Yes.
Yeah.
What camera you got on top of it, Mitch?
This is the DJI
Oh,
FPV.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, what you're looking at here is recorded on the air unit in the quad.
And the goggles? Or on
No,
the
not the goggles, the actual air unit
Actual
recording, because it has the air unit records the sound too. See, which is kind of neat.
sound. The sound is cool.
Mitch, I need to answer a question. Somebody asked me what little drone I was holding up. This is the Mobula 6 HD. It's 1080, 60 frames per second. Takes great video, considering, but it only flies 2 minutes and change.
Now I think, Carlos, in this flight I actually did a few rolls and a few split S's and things like that. Went up high. I kind of whipped around in the trees and then I went out to just cruise around a little bit. But God, I was having so much fun. This was this morning. I mean, I got lost in the flying, and I didn't even look at, and ran the batteries down to just about nothing.
That's the idea. Chris, in order to repair your drone, all you got to do is some soldering.
You know, I'm not an antenna guy, but I do work with some guys that are antenna guys. So I'm going to carry them pieces to work in the morning. And in the meantime, I've already placed an order at Amazon to replace it. So I got another controller coming and the little jumper cables that plugs into the board, plugs into the antenna.
You broke the VT. You broke the plug off the VTX.
No, I didn't break the plug off the VTX. I broke one of the antennas off the VTX.
Off the receiver or the video transmitter?
The receiver.
Off the XM Plus.
Yes.
Well, they just snap on, you know.
Well, this one won't snap on no more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because when I fired it up, Mitch, I didn't get the third little "you're ready to fly" tones.
Yeah,
What?
that could be the receiver or it could be the flight controller.
That's different. No?
Sounds like a flight controller issue, not
Yeah.
a receiver
Yeah.
problem.
Well, that'd be par for the course. This
Well-
Tyro 129 has been fun, but it's also not cheap.
You mean you had the 119, didn't you?
I mean, 19, yeah, the one.
Yeah.
Try not to fly it over asphalt.
Yeah, I was gonna make some suggestions that when you first start, fly it over grass and fly it higher.
Well, we'd had 2 inches of rain and the football field was standing in water.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I was on the asphalt.
Because
and then you practice with the freestyle that you didn't bind. I keep harassing you about.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyway, that's just. Did you see Carlos made a numerous right turns and
you're a new man.
Through the trees and
okay, Mike.
Split S's and.
It's okay, Ken. I think we'll survive.
That little Acrobrat for on an 854 cell really does good. Really does good. That was where the battery died. I'm going to see if I can't find some. Sometimes it's fun like this, just to cruise along,
Definitely. That's part of Paul's forte right there. That looks like drone bum flying.
Oh, that's Miss Daisy's stuff.
Actually, he goes backwards sometimes. Don't ask me how he.
But one thing about that DJI unit is the range on it. You never get any. The picture just never drops out. I don't care how far you get away from you. If I was doing that with analog, by the time I got that far away from where I was sitting behind those trees, it'd be gone. I like doing this. I don't know why. I always find myself zooming down the road like this.
Yeah, it's cool.
Oh, Ken, that reminds me. You should check your Facebook messages. I sent you a message.
Ray Kelly says GPS style. Yeah, but this isn't GPS style right here, Ray.
Not in the least. Look at you go. Look at that. Ed, did you see that, Ed?
Yeah, you got some good speed going on there, no doubt.
You can hear the motors aren't really screaming either.
No, but you're cooking. Chris, the 119 is 6-inch or 5-inch?
It's a 6.
6-inch.
Yeah.
John RC Fun was asking.
Okay, well, tell me the sequence of the beeps when you plug in the battery.
The majestic beep.
Yeah. Now, do you get the second set of beeps?
I got the first 3, and then 1, but I didn't get the last one.
So you got doot, but not the last one.
Not the last one.
There's so much doo-doo in here.
There's a bunch of doo-doo, Dan.
Yeah, that might be.
And you're above me, so don't doo-doo on me.
Did you break your? Did any physical damage to the electronics?
Not that I could tell. Everything was lit up. The only thing I could find, Mitch, was I had broke the wire on the.
The receiver.
Yeah, the deal that got the 2 broken antenna off one of the diversity antennas.
Okay.
I broke one of them off. But the lights all come on like it's supposed to.
Does not arm, obviously, right?
I didn't get that far, Carlos. When it didn't make that last one, I just unplugged it because I knew I'd broke something.
Gotcha.
And I didn't. You know what? Before I took it apart tonight, I didn't power it up to see if anything. If it might have come back on fine. I don't know.
Did you take the props off?
Yes, sir. I did.
Okay.
Chris, don't you know the first rules of crashing? If it looks all right, even if a wire's hanging, just put a new battery in and send it, bro. You can figure out the rest later.
See what happens.
I did put a new battery in, Dan, but it didn't. It just didn't. It wasn't right, so it wasn't armed, so it didn't fly.
That's where the battery died, right there.
You're not watching all that telemetry you have going, and you let it die on you.
Well, I was having so much fun, and for some reason, those 850s seem to hang on, and they look like they're doing real good, and then the last 10 seconds, they just drop like crazy. Boom, gone.
What battery is that, Mitch?
It's an 854 cell. It's a Tattoo R line, which are pretty good batteries. I get about 4 or 5 minutes out of that with that. That's this little Acrobrat.
I mean, Tattoo makes premium cells. They're not crummy batteries
No,
by
it's
any
good
means.
batteries. Yeah, it's just that
Yeah.
this is not the lightest quad either. This is pretty hefty for a 3-inch.
Yeah.
It's got the DJI air unit in it. It's got GPS, a lost quad beeper, and the full size air unit, not the Vista. So but it doesn't fly like a heavy quad. You see, it's pretty nimble, and you goose it, it's gone. So it's become one of my favorite quads. Really,
Mitch,
really
we have
like
a new person in the chat, Mr. Drone Crush.
Drone Crush.
I haven't seen him before. Or
Hello,
maybe
my friend.
Good evening.
Well, welcome to our little stream, and Johnny Drone Flyer is here too. How you doing, my friend? Hi, good to see you.
Mr. Drone Crush has been around a while. He just hasn't been here.
Yeah.
obviously.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
we will make him give him
Wrench.
a blue wrench, and also I know who Johnny Drone Flyer is. We'll do it. Make him a member of the family too. Welcome, guys. Thanks for coming in. Okay. I think that may as well, before 10 o'clock comes, let's get started. Dan, I don't think you're going to learn anything.
Nah.
Chris, maybe you
I
might.
will.
I'll participate. We'll see.
Okay. The situation is for new FPV guys. The getting the radio transmitter set up, creating the model, setting your channel order, switches, and then going into the quad and setting up betaflight to interpret that has been confusing. And I think that based on the little episode we had last week, trying to help Ed with his quad get figure out which switch does what, I want to try to simplify it. And it really is for quads, the radio settings are really the simplest part of the whole thing, because unlike model airplanes where one airplane may have a rudder and another one may not, one airplane may have ailerons, another may not, one may have flaps, one may need a mix between the flaps and the elevators. All that stuff is done in the radio, and these radios are very capable, and you can do all kinds of that stuff. With a quad, all the quad needs to see are 4 flight channels. That'd be aileron, roll, pitch, yaw, and throttle, and some channels for the different switches. And you can probably get by with 2 switches if you wanted for arming the quad and changing the.
What happened to the audio? No audio. I thought it was me.
I thought it was me too.
Second, guys, I'm wearing my
I'm doing
wireless
sign
mic, and I don't know what
language.
happened. I must have.
He
back.
got unplugged.
Well, no, it turned off. I charged the battery. I must have leaned up against the power switch. Okay, I think that's good. Let me get rid of it. Get back to my wireless mic. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
No, we can't hear you.
Okay. We'll put this back in my pocket and hope I don't sit on the power button again. I wear the wireless mic when I do these things so that I can move over here to the table.
That was our chance to interrupt them, and none of us took it.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm tough, guys. I'm tough. Anyway, what I want to try to do, and this is going to, I don't know if it's going to work or not, but we're going to give it a shot. We've got a pencil and paper here because the other night when I was trying to explain this, I wished I had a pencil and paper to actually write. So what I'm going to try to do, and I'm sure that this is out there in the Opentx, and you all know that Opentx Can you read that?
Yes.
Open Texas. Come
Open
on,
Texas,
ready.
yeah. Okay, that's good, because I don't have I was looking for a Sharpie, and I don't have one that has any ink in it. I need to buy some Sharpies. I just heard a god-awful loud car. That's why I hesitated. I didn't know what the hell it was. Anyway, Opentx is the software that runs most of the radios that we use. The Free Skies, the Jumpers, the Radio Masters. It runs on the Opentx software, and the Opentx software works the same from radio to radio. But what you have here is you have the transmitter over here, and over here you have the quad. 10 years of art school, guys.
Looks like Chris's quad now.
And this is what happened. Okay. And then, of course, the two of them communicate. In here you got Opentx, and over here you got betaflight. And the idea is, along this stream is coming out of the antenna are the signals for 8. It can go up to 16, but let's just, for sake of argument, say we're using a D8 receiver, 8, or we have our receiver set up. We're just going to talk about 8 channels, and if it's 16 channels, it works the same way. So you have 8 channels of information going from here to here, okay? And each one of these channels on this end is controlled by something in this transmitter that makes these channels 1 through 8 do something. And then when it gets to the quad, betaflight looks at these 8 channels and tells the quad what to do based on the information in these channels. I know that sounds really simple, but it seems to confuse a lot of people. So let's see what happens. Now there's the different kinds of modulation, whether it's pulse width, pulse position, PWM, PPM, and all that is irrelevant to what we're talking about. Basically, what you have is 8 channels. So I'm going to draw 8 little bars there, okay? And it's up to the user in setting up the model, generally only the first time, to tell this radio which one of these things up here, which one of these things, sticks, switches, whatever, is going to make channel 1 go either low, high, in the middle, or somewhere in between. Okay, and the same thing with the other channels. So we have to tell the radio which one of these things controls channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4, and that's the only setup we really need to do on the radio. So the first 4 channels right here are your flight channels. Channel 1, 2, 3, 4. And now you guys have heard AETR.
I was just going to say that.
TAER. You've heard those different things. If you don't know what that means, that is the channel order for the first 4 channels. And of course, there's no real standard. So it's important that you know which channel order you're using on your radio, so that when you get to the betaflight side, you know which is which. So one of them is TAER, okay? That means that channel 1 would be the throttle, channel 2 would be the ailerons or roll, channel 3 would be the elevator or pitch, and channel 4 would be the rudder or yaw. Okay, if you have your radio set up with this channel mapping, TAER, then you just need to remember that. If your channel mapping is AETR, which is another very common, maybe even more common, that means that channel 1 is going to be where the aileron information is, elevator, throttle, and rudder. So it's kind of important when you get to betaflight that you know what channel 1 is trying to tell the quad.
Territor.
What?
Are you
I
okay,
was
Dan?
reading what you wrote. I just tried to
Oh.
stack the words.
Oh,
I was
okay.
wondering
Well,
when we get to
TA
88 miles an hour here.
TAER. Yeah, okay. So if I have this set up TAER, then this stick moves channel 1. This stick is A, aileron moves channel 2, elevator moves channel 3, and yaw moves channel 4. So it is important to know that depending on how the radio is set up, which channel is going to be affected by which flight control. Okay? Then, so this is channel 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the other channels, 5, 6, 7, and 8, are used for switches or anything else, sometimes even RSSI information. But they throw you a curveball because they name channel 5 in the quad as aux 1. Channel 6 is aux 2. Channel 7 is aux 3, and channel 8 is aux 4. Okay? So that sometimes confuses people too. Right. Just remember, channel 5 is where the auxiliary channels start. So let's go into this radio here. Welcome to Opentx. Oh, my Alexa is explaining this whole thing to me in the other room. That's what I heard. Alexa, stop! Thank you. I didn't say the A word, did I?
You don't have to.
I mean, I heard something before. This broad is out there just
She's
talking
taking notes.
Yeah, I guess. All right, so let's see if I can zoom into this so we can see it. All right, let's get back a little bit. You guys see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, now on these radios, to make things also easier, is that the Free Sky radios may have a different button layout than the Jumper radios have a different button layout than the Radio Master radios, but basically in Opentx radios, you only have a few basic switches. The main two are switches that are called System and Model. Okay, on this radio, this is the System switch button and this is the Model button. On the Radio Master, they use these two for System and Model. In this radio, this is the backspace or the return button. It's in a different place on the Radio Master. The enter function on this radio is pushing the scroll wheel in. And then this is the side arrows. And then you have page, a button for page and a button for telemetry. And then on the Radio Master, they actually give you a back button. On the jumpers and on the FR Sky radios, in order to go back, you actually press and hold. To further complicate things, there are different ways you use the buttons. There's a short press and there's a long press, and they all mean different things to help you navigate around in the menus. But somebody just turned one on too. Okay, all right. So these radios have model memories, and you get to that by long pressing the enter or the scroll wheel, and then it'll say model select monitors, reset, statistics, and about. So you want to hit model select, and then in all of your a list of all your models will come up, and if you happen to have put pictures on your little SD card, you can even have a picture of your model come up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my D8 Betaflight here so that I can, now I'm going to select my D16 because the quad that I'm going to be plugging in is going to be this little Tyro 89 here to show you the iNav side of it. And that has a 16-channel XM Plus receiver in it, just like
Did I hear you say you're going to plug it in?
I'm going to plug it into
with
Betaflight.
The props.
No, to Betaflight. I'm not going to put a battery on it. I'm not going to put a battery on it. And if I did put a battery on it, guys, thingy. I could use this little smoke stopper thing, which would keep it from hurting me or anybody else. Okay, but let's get to this. I'm going to select this model. Press enter. I guess I already did select the model. It was selected because it's got a little check mark there. The return button always gets you back to the front page. So the model button takes you to the first page of the model setup. And that's where you'd give it a name and all that. And we've already been through that, and that's not really what I want to cover tonight. But let's go to the system page and go down the system page. And somewhere down here,
just for the record, it does say radio setup.
Yes.
Okay.
This says system on it, okay? But at the bottom of the main radio setup page is an entry that says default channel order. And that's where you tell your radio which camp you want to be in. You want to be in the TAER camp or the AETR. And make that decision once. And once you made the decision, stick with it. But there is a place where you tell your radio that throttle is going to control channel 1, aileron's going to control channel 2, and they call that channel mapping. And that's in the system page under the radio setup, okay? On the model page, the first thing takes you into the model setup, and that's where you set up your you give the model a name. You basically are only you're going to set up the type of radio that it is down here on the internal module. We've already been through that, and that's really all that's relevant on that page. But if you go to the second page, if you page again, it says flight modes. We're not worried about that. The next page, you may get a page that says heli. If you get a page that says heli, just skip right over it. When you install Opentx on a radio, it asks you if you're going to use helicopters. And if you're not going to use helicopters, it compiles a different version of Opentx for your radio that doesn't give you the helicopter information. So if you see helis, won't hurt anything, just ignore it. Now, the first page that I have here are the inputs that I have set up. And the throttle order, when I create a new model, it'll automatically come up with TAER, throttle, aileron, elevator, and rudder. And what that means, again, when I move the throttle or aileron, if you happen to have yours AETR, when I move whatever control is set to move channel 1, then the value of channel 1 being sent to the quad is going to change. In my case, throttle moves 1, aileron moves 2, again, pitch or elevator moves 3, and yaw moves 4. Now, the next thing and that gets all of those control information to the quad. What the quad does with it in betaflight, let me back up a little bit. So what the quad does with it, when it gets it, the radio could care less. The radio only knows when I move this stick, the aileron, channel 1 value is going to change. That's it. Okay? So then the next thing we're going to set up on the radio is we need a couple of switches. And we've been through this before. You hit the page key, you go over to the mixes tab, and you'll notice that the first 4 are already in there, and you will have nothing on channel 5, okay, and shouldn't have anything after that. Now, once you get a quad set up like this, where you have channel 5, channel 6, 7, and 8, and 9, whatever already set up, you can use that same exact model for any number of quads, as long as you're using the same kind of receiver. And I think we talked about that, didn't we, Carlos?
Yep, the copy.
No, you don't even have to make a copy of it.
Oh, you're talking about all the D8s, all the D16s.
Yeah, if you've got a quad with a D8 receiver and you've got it set up on one quad, you can bind any quad with a D8 receiver to it, and everything will work just the same.
I would like for you to go over that. Not today. How you do that?
Okay. All right.
Not today necessarily.
Hey,
Yes.
Mitch. Which switch is
SA
SA?
is this switch up here.
It's in Mexico, Ed.
I can't see. Okay, that's the mode.
Yes,
Is that
that's the
three
mode.
positions,
That's what I
right?
use for the mode switch.
All right, well, that's what the mode switch is set to on my Baby Hawk R that I can't get into
Okay,
acro mode.
and you won't, and we won't know anything until we get into Betaflight. Ed, and that's what I'm.
That's a
That's what
problem
I'm
for Ed.
trying to. That's what I'm trying to show you right now. That has nothing to do. This switch, and I'll show you when I get into the Betaflight side of it what this switch does. Okay, but the point I'm trying to make is we now, it's starting. If I didn't know what I was, what I was trying to explain, and I didn't understand any of this, I would be getting confused right now, especially by that question you just asked, because you're jumping all the way from where I am now, way past the Betaflight part. So let me go back to where I am. Okay, I need a switch for ARM. So we'll make channel 5 the ARM switch, okay? And I need a switch for mode. So let's make channel 6 the mode switch. You have the option of making any switch on any channel do anything you want, as long as you know that you set it up a certain way on your radio so that when you get into Betaflight, you can then take the other side of what you've set up and assign it properly to do what you intended it to do. To make things simple, most people settle on a convention. Oh, I see Ken is back. He's back.
Is it working now?
It is. It is.
Hey, you're a great
right.
teacher. You're a great teacher, Mitch. I gotta say.
Oh man, it's
I was staring at Dan the whole time. I mean, you had some great stuff, but I was staring at Dan. He's like lighting his hand on fire and playing
well.
with it.
This is boring the hell out of Dan. Dan knows all this stuff like the back of his hand, but a lot of people.
Dan, does yours fly? Mine doesn't. I can't hear you. I think he's muted.
You're muted, Dan.
Is he? Mine does.
Mine does fly. I'm putting the body back into it and making a few
that's
changes.
cool.
So yes, it's got a flight controller. It does
That's
rip.
awesome. Yeah, mine weighs like a pound. I couldn't make it fly.
Put more power.
Let's continue before we get lost, Mitch.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
All right. Okay, let me get back to this. Ken, welcome. Good to see you. I'm glad you finally figured the technology of all this out.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so let me go back over to the blackboard, the whiteboard here. All right, so now the conventions generally are channel 5 is used for arming, channel 6 is used for modes. Channel 7 is usually beeper, channel 8 is usually going to be turtle mode, okay? And most people do it that way. Now, not everybody wants to use the same switch for arming, but the important thing to remember is that what switch controls channel 5 is irrelevant to the quad. The quad only knows that the value of that channel 5 is going to be what it's looking at to say whether it's armed or not. What switch you have set on your radio is up to you. You may want to use this switch to arm, which is what I think most people do. But I know Carlos likes to use, what do you use, Carlos? This switch. Some people like to use this switch. Some people,
I'm sorry, I hit the
some
wrong button.
people
That's the one.
want to use buttons. Some people want to use a knob. That's personal choice, as long as you remember what you did. But the only thing that you need to worry about is to make sure that whatever switch you have decided that you want to use to arm it, it controls channel 5. And
How
the way
dare you
do
put
that,
the arm near the knob?
Where was I?
Too soon?
Too soon. Too soon.
Arming and knob.
You didn't get the memo.
You can choose either one you want.
Okay, so let's take a look at let's go down here and just quickly take a look at this. I go to channel 5, and if there's nothing there, I just hit the enter button. If there is something there, I edit it, and I will give it a name up here. It said ARM, and then it asks me for the source, and this is all I really care about. What's the source of the ARM? Right now it says SF, but if I press it and it starts blinking, it will recognize the next switch that I turn. So let's suppose that I wanted to make this big switch here my arming switch, and that's switch SB. If I hit this switch, this thing just changed to SB. But I don't want it on SB. I want this switch up here to be the arm switch, so I will hit this switch. Just move the switch, and it automatically picked that up. And then I just hit the return to make it stop blinking, and the back button to take me back to the channel maps. The next switch I want to set up, I want to go to channel 6, and I want that to be the mode switch. So I would type the word mode in here, then I'd go down to the switch, I'd press it until it starts blinking, then I would just hit the switch that I want to be the mode switch, and that's SA, and then hit this once again to accept it. Now, I've set those two switches, ARM and mode, okay? So all that means is that when we get back to this, if I hit the ARM switch, the value on channel 5 goes from low to high, or high to low, okay? When I hit the mode switch, which is a 3-position switch that I put up here, the value on channel 6 is going to either be low, middle, or high, depending on the position of the three-position switch. And that's all that the radio does. If I have my quad completely set up and my quad knows that channel 5 arms it, and I drop my transmitter and break my arming switch right off the transmitter out at the field and go, oh shit, all I need to do is go into channel 5, edit it, and say, well, I can't use SF because it's broken, so let's, for the time being, until I get that fixed, let's use this switch up here. And it changed S to SC, and then I get out of it, and now this is my arming switch. I didn't have to go into betaflight, I didn't have to change anything in the quad. All I've done is told the radio, change which switch moves channel 5. Okay, so the switch assignments have nothing to do with the quad and nothing to do with betaflight. They have everything to do with the transmitter itself and what is mapped in this radio to one of the 8 or 16 channels that go out. Okay, so that's all there really is on the radio side. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to reset my arm switch to where it was, SF.
Quick cut you off if it's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
You may want to tell people to buy a transmitter capable of more than 6 channels in case they want to arm other switches.
Well, you know, most of the radios we're using, Dan, these days are all 16 channels anyway. They're the Radio Masters or the Jumpers or those, or you know, or the most Opentx radios. It's only the Spectrum radios that screw you up with 6 channels.
I mean, I was thinking.
He didn't say to use 6 channels either. He started with 8.
Well, no, I get that. I'm just saying we were aiming it more at newbies, and a lot of people see that FlySky i6 transmitter as being the first option because it's so cheap. You know what I'm saying? That they do that, and it's only like 6 channels. So
you can get a 16-channel Radio Master or a T12 now for like $70.
Right.
It's dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, anyway, before we get too far afield here, let me go over to let me get betaflight cooking here. And
Mitch, can I ask you a question while you're searching?
Yeah, you want to stop? Okay, let's stop
just
and
a quick,
talk a little bit. Yeah.
Quick question. Help it. Place it here. Let's say your radio is TEAR. You got a flight controller that's AETR. You can just switch that in betaflight, right?
Correct.
Okay.
There is no such thing as an AETR flight controller.
I'm just saying, but if there's
yeah, and I'm going to show you where that comes in right now.
So then you can always use Betaflight to match your radio, whatever your radio
and
is.
I'm going to show you how you tell if it's all screwed up.
I just want to make sure I told him the right thing. All right, I'm out.
You're about to do Betaflight?
I'm here, but I'm out.
Yeah, Ken, you want to hide? You want to take a tranquilizer? Or
I'd rather get a root canal without Novocaine than do Betaflight. It's important and people should watch, but I think I'm out on this one.
All right, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
Take the rest of the day off. Thanks for stopping in.
All right, bye.
Have a good evening, man.
All right. Ken has a aversion to Betaflight. Okay, so I don't fortunately have an aversion to Betaflight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to, let's see, I need to do this. Art, you leaving?
Yeah, I'm about ready to blaze.
All right,
thanks
buddy.
for having me, Mitch.
Yeah, he gonna step outside and blaze.
Okay.
Hey, Chris, good to see you. Dan,
You too, Art.
stay busy.
All right,
And
original gangster.
Be quiet. Take care, everybody in the chat. Catch you next time. Bye bye.
All right, buddy.
Peace,
Happy
buddy.
holidays, Art.
Yeah, be good,
Same
Art.
to you.
Okay, so now we got Betaflight over here, and I think for this I'm actually going to make it. You guys will be here in the screen, but I'm going to actually take over the whole screen so that people maybe make it easier to see.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so now I have this little tiny quad plugged in. I'm going to connect to it, and it is connected and it does move. Okay, now I picked a quad to use that happens to power the receiver through the USB. Some quads do that, some don't. Sometimes you have to actually plug the flight battery in. Depends on where you have the receiver soldered to on the flight controller. But in this case, it actually powered the receiver, which made it simple. So that's why I'm using this quad. But this has an XM Plus receiver in it. And what I want to do is I want to go to the receiver tab here. Okay, and show you what happens if your channel mapping is wrong. Now, can you all read? Is this big enough for you to read what it says here where I'm moving the mouse?
AETR 1234.
It says, yeah, TAER. Remember when I showed you how my transmitter was set up? It was TAER. But if I change this to AETR and hit save, look what happens to the little drone down there. Now my sticks are centered, but that little drone is rolling like crazy. And the reason that little drone is rolling like crazy is because it now expects to see roll on channel 1, and my quad is putting out the throttle on channel 1. Follow me? So, low throttle on my radio is making channel 1 low, but because I've told Betaflight that channel 1 is the aileron, it's rolling. So, if I move my throttle up, it should slow that roll down. And wow, look at that. Now when I get to mid throttle, the roll is stopped. And when I get to full throttle, it starts rolling the other way. Now, the other sticks are all centered, so you won't get any motion out of that. But they're also screwed up. If I move my roll, I get pitch because all of my mapping is wrong. But what I wanted to show you is I haven't changed anything in my radio to do that. My throttle stick is moving channel 1, but here in Betaflight, I've told the Betaflight that channel 1 is the aileron, and it's not. Channel 1 is the throttle. So if I go back and change the first 4 letters to TAER and hit save, now I've mapped Betaflight to the correct mapping. And if I move my roll, it rolls. If I move my pitch, it pitches. And if I move my yaw, it yaws. And that's how you tell if your channel mapping in Betaflight, the way it's set up, matches the way you've set your radio. But all that Betaflight knows is that there's 4 channels coming in. Channel 1, 2, 3, 4. I've told it that channel 1 is roll, pitch, yaw. I mean, these are not even numbered. These are not even in the correct order. It doesn't matter. This is channel 1, T. This is channel 2. But that doesn't matter. I've told it here by TAER. And then the 1, 2, 3, 4 map the first 4 auxiliary channels, aux 1, aux 2, aux 3, and aux 4. And I know that that aux 1 is really channel 5 of the radio, aux 2 is channel 6, 7, and 8. So if I move the switch that I set to arm the quad, I would expect channel 5 to move. There it is, low to high, okay? If I move the switch that I mapped the mode switch to, channel 6 moves, and channel 6 is aux 2. Center position and full down, okay? So basically, you see that this radio moves aux 1 and the mode switch moves aux 2. What was that?
That's me.
Oh, remember, the quad does not know which switch on the radio I clicked. It only knows that channel 5 has changed its value from the radio. And if you remember what I just did, I showed you how you can basically set any switch on the radio to make channel 5 move up and down. Okay, Ed, so far we haven't answered your question yet. Okay, about why you can't get out of your acro mode. So now I've got some mappings in here and I've got some switches set. So I'm going to go over to the modes tab. Okay, and this is where in Betaflight you are now going to tell Betaflight what you want channel 5 to do, channel 6 to do, okay? And that's done by selecting something over here. And you have a whole different selection of possible things you can change with any of these switches that you've set on your radio and map them to any of these channels, all the way up to channel 16 if you want. You have arm, angle, horizon, head free, fail safe, head adjust, beeper, OSD disabled, telemetry, black box, FPV angle, camera control switches, pre-arms, VTX pit modes, paralyze, acro trainer, and a whole bunch more depending on how you have this thing configured. If you have it configured with the GPS module, you'll get more of these different choices. So,
Mitch?
Yes.
Quick timeout, just in case. I just want to throw it out there. If anybody has a question, put it out there now so that we can answer it, right? Because
okay.
I don't know, just in case. I don't.
All right. So here's what I want to show. Here's what I want to point out. Each one of these things, and I'm going to get rid of. You can remove these, and I'm going to remove the arming tab from this. Okay, and I'm going to remove the angle and the horizon tab. So this is what's going to happen when you first set up a quad. So I need to set up and arm this quad. I know that channel 5 is what I have picked to be the arming channel, and I know that that switch up in the corner is the switch that I've selected to change channel 5. So I will say add range. All right, now what you have here is you have a bar up top, and down at the bottom here you have a little tiny indicator, which is sitting over 1500, and then over here you have a list of all the aux channels that you want to tell. You have to select an aux channel that you want to control this arming. Now I know that it's aux 1, but Betaflight has an auto mode. So if I just simply go to my radio and click that switch, it will select aux 1 because it found that channel 5 changed value. And I could have done the same thing with this and hit the mode switch, and it would have said aux 2. It didn't care what channel I was picking. It didn't care how I'd set the radio. All of this thing knew was that something changed, channel 5, channel 6, and it selected that channel. So let's go back and get rid of this again. Add the range, hit the arm switch, and now you'll notice that when the switch is in one position, that little tiny indicator is down low, and when I move the switch to the other position, that little indicator is up high. And then the bar across. So there's simple logic here. If this little indicator is outside of this yellow area, then it's off. Okay? And if I save this, whether I flick the switch this way or this way, that is not arming the quad. If I were to slide this down here and save it, then when this little indicator in that position of the switch is inside the yellow area, it's armed. When it moves outside the yellow area, it's not armed. It doesn't matter if I make this wide, as long as when this little indicator is outside of that area, it's off. When it's inside of that area, it's armed. Betaflight, at least the newer versions of Betaflight, will light up red, and that tells you the arming is disabled because it's connected to the computer, and that's just a safety feature. Normally, it'll turn the gold color of this, but I don't want my quad armed with the switch down. I want my quad armed with the switch up. So I will take and make this about that size, and I will move it to where it, when the little pip is inside that little size yellow, my quad is armed. I'll save it. My quad is armed. When I disarm the quad, it's outside of the yellow area. Okay? And I selected which one of the radio channels, channel 5 or aux 1, that I have the arming switch set to. So that's how I set up my arming switch. Okay? Anybody have any questions about that? Because that's basic. That you have
Nothing on chat so far. Keep
okay.
going.
Second thing is the mode switch. Carlos, can you tell me what mode this quad is in right now?
It would be in air mode.
Acro mode.
Acro.
Yeah, acro or air. Yeah, it would be in air mode if I had air mode turned on, either in the configuration or by another switch or a combination of switches.
Basically, if you don't set anything, it's air or acro.
Okay, now
That's what I understand.
Let me try something. Let's add a range here, and I'm going to move my mode switch, and it's going to automatically select aux 2 or channel 6, and I'm going to do this, Ed, and I'm going to save this. Okay? And Ed, what I told this thing was, no matter where this switch is, you're going to be in angle mode. You see what I did? I made the range full. I covered every possible location or value of that switch. I have basically said, no matter what I do, no matter what switch I change, there is no way in hell I can get this quad out of angle mode. Period. You understand that, Ed? Ed, your mic's muted.
He's trying to keep.
Yeah, I understand all that.
So let's suppose that I had set up my quad where I have it like this for angle mode, and then I went down to horizon mode and said that's also on the mode switch, but I've got it set up like this. Okay? So no matter what I do with that 3-position switch, I'm either something is always covered. If it is in an angle, it's in horizon. Okay? How would I get into acro mode from there? That's where your problem is. That's that's the only thing that it can be. And the way to check that is you go into Betaflight, okay?
That's his problem.
And you look, well, you can't tell. But if you could see your receiver tab and you looked at the mode switch, you'd be able to see if it was indeed going halfway, if you hit it halfway and all the way when you hit it up. If you were getting 3 positions out of it. Now, if you think you might have a broken switch, go back to what we did in the first step with the radio. Go to channel 5 or 6 or whatever your mode channel is, and assign it to a different 3-position switch and see if that solves the problem. If that doesn't...
Well, I will tell you this, and that is, for some reason, my 3-position switches, and I looked at hardware settings on my QX7 today, and there are switches. That's why I was asking about the SA switch, because that's what this bird, that channel is. I don't know. When I moved that switch in Betaflight, it was moving. That's
Okay.
how I see Horizon.
I'll tell you what you do, Ed. Have you got a different quad that you can plug into Betaflight?
Yeah.
Well, plug a different quad into Betaflight and check that the switch on your radio is moving the radio channel properly. The switch on the radio can only do one thing. It can only set the value of that channel. 1,000, 1,500 to 2,000,
For all his birds. For all his birds.
For any bird. The radio doesn't know what quad it's flying when you're clicking the mode switch. It just knows I'm changing channel 5, I'm changing channel 6. So if you can't plug the quad that you can't figure out in, plug a different quad in, and that way you can go to the receiver tab, look at your mode switch, and see if the radio is indeed putting out the proper pulses. And if it is, then the problem is on the Betaflight end in the modes tab where it's interpreting these pulses. See, and I have a funny feeling that Bob set it up this way to be either in angle or horizon. And that's why
he's having an error. He should put the video up.
I mean, we can sit here, Ed, till the cows come home and try to guess.
Mitch, do you remember
at how it's set up, but without plugging it into Betaflight without checking the radio with another quad, you'll never know.
No, he actually put arming, disarm, and beeper on one switch.
Well,
because he had an issue, but that shouldn't mess with the modes.
No, it shouldn't, and we're going to spend another half hour wasting time again trying to figure out what's wrong with something when you can't get in. You don't have the tools to go in and look.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah, so that's crazy.
Hey,
anyway, continue.
Mitch, I got to run, buddy.
Oh, okay, Chris. Anyway, I hope some of that made some sense to you.
Yes, sir. I can go back and finish watching this later and pull it up reference. About an hour and 20 minutes in is when you started with Betaflight.
You could always ask us, Chris, anytime if you need help.
Trust me. Thank you. Night, everybody.
All right, take care, buddy.
Good night, Chris.
All right, I've put that back. The point I'm trying to make is the problem is either in the radio or it's in the quad. It's not in both.
Receiver still connected.
You guys, you understand that, Carlos?
It's one or the other, yeah.
Right. The quad doesn't have anything to do with the way the radio's set up, other than what channel, what switch actually changes.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Can I invert the switch?
In the radio?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. It's tricky. You change the weight. You change the weight to minus 100 in the mixer.
I'm writing that down.
1 hour, 36 minutes in it.
Yeah, you go into the mixer. Go to that channel. Is it channel 6 that you're using for the mode switch?
Well, from what I understand, it's actually channel 5.
Channel 5, always use channel 5 to arm.
That's what I have on every other bird I have.
Okay.
But
Well,
he dropped his receiver and it broke, so he had to switch it. That's what caused Bob to do what he did.
okay.
broken
Okay,
switch.
but yeah, you can. You go into the mixer or the input. I think it's in yeah, it's in the mixer.
Well, the reason I asked that is because from what Bob tells me, his air mode was all the way back, and all the way back on that switch doesn't change anything.
Yeah, but you don't know if it's changing anything or not.
No, but
you
I'm
can't-
grabbing at straws here. I just
Yeah.
want to try and invert it and see if that gets it out of in the air
Well,
mode.
all you need to do is put it on a different switch.
Ed, what's the name of that quad? Rick Halber's asking. I forget. Tiny Hook R?
Baby Hawk R.
Baby Hook R.
Yeah, right under the name of the switch, Ed, on your radio, where you pick the switch for that channel, and you're telling me it's channel 5. You'll see it says wait. Select that, make it minus 100. That'll reverse the position of the switch.
Okay, I'll give that a go.
Yeah, but that, I'm telling you, if you would follow, I could walk you through troubleshooting this if you want, but you're going to need to do step by step what I tell you.
No,
And
that's okay. I mean, you gave me a something to work with, and I'll go with that.
Okay.
For now.
You have
I'll get
to
back
now.
to you.
You're using the same radio that you use to fly all your other stuff, correct?
Correct.
All the switches work on all your other stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have a.
I will tell you this. What I normally use is my mode switch. It only does 2 positions also, even though it's a 3-position switch. When I go to betaflight, it only does 2 positions.
I need to see that on the computer because and I need to see your radio, the monitor on your radio, because you can monitor what the signals are going out on your radio too. There's a screen that you go to that actually shows you the positions of all the different switches.
And see, here's the thing too, is because I never really cared about it after a while, because it's like I never use the mode switch anyway. I want to be in acro all the time.
Yeah, but you can't, if you have a flight controller and betaflight that is set up, that has a mode switch set to angle and horizon, you can't disable that unless you go back into betaflight. Yeah.
I understand that, what you were saying with the bands and all that. I just know that he had the bird in air mode. He showed me some videos with it in air mode, so I think that in betaflight he does not have the band stretched that wide.
Or his radio has different endpoint sets than your radio, because that's adjustable in the radio too.
There you go.
Yeah, this is what when you buy a used quad from somebody who uses a totally different scheme of setup than you do. It's always going to be a problem when you want to integrate it into your radio.
It was a gift.
And I didn't buy it, he gifted it.
Yeah, okay. Unless you go into betaflight and see, you go into betaflight, you go and look at the receiver tab, make sure the bars move when you hit the switch. In other words, when you hit the mode switch, make sure that you know what channel is moving. Is it channel 5 that's moving, or is it channel 6 that's moving? If he uses channel 5 for arming and channel 6 for modes, and you use the opposite, then it's not going to work with your radio until you make a change. Until you either change.
Actually, Ed, do you have any switches in common with Bob's radio?
Well, he has his flight
Not
controls.
a one, right?
No, but he has the first floor flight controls work.
Yes, I have that.
Yeah.
No, not even.
So
No, I mean, and the beeper works and the modes work. It just won't go and it won't do the 3rd position.
No, wait a minute. Isn't even the first arm, even the arm switch different?
Yeah, the arm switch is different.
So it's not the first 4. They're not the same.
no,
And
the
even
first 4, Carlos, the first
Oh, the
4 are
throttle,
throttle,
yeah,
aileron,
yeah.
elevator, and rudder.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brain fart. Yeah.
Yeah. You need to find if it's working on your quads now, then your transmitter's working now. Did you create a separate model for this in your transmitter?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And what kind of receiver does it have in it? A D8 or a D16?
D16.
Do you have another model with a D16?
Yeah.
Try changing to that model that has a different model that uses a D16 receiver in your transmitter.
Well, that's what I copied a model to make this one. I just renamed the D16 model that I already had set up.
Okay. All right. Well, then you are already doing that. But it sounds to me like you normally use channel 5 for arming. He used channel 6.
Correct.
So did you change that in your radio?
No, I did not.
So what you need to go in your radio is you need to go into the mixer, go into channel 6 in the mixer, and put your arming switch on channel 6. Go into channel 5 in the mixer and put your mode switch on that channel and see if that works.
Okay.
You understand? Because what's happening now is you're arming.
An hour and 43 minutes.
You're arming the quad with your mode switch, and you're trying to change modes with your arm switches, because he's reversed those two channels. Again, what the transmitter puts out, the quad doesn't know. The quad doesn't know what switch is moving those little bars that move.
Well, this is kind of what confuses me, though, is because he told me what switches he set up in the bird, and for arming, beeper, and disarm, like the one I use for modes normally is where...
Keep in mind, Ed, I know where you're going with this, and the point I'm trying to make to you is what switch he chose is irrelevant. Makes no difference. All you need to know is what channel he chose for arming and what channel he's using for modes. And then you select on your transmitter whatever switch you want to change that particular channel. Because, again, I'm going to go back to this little diagram that I had before, and go back to this and say that if I select SF to be the switch that I want to use, and I set channel 5 so that SF switch moves channel 5, when it gets through all here and the quad receives it, the quad doesn't know anything about SF or ARM or any of that other crap yet. It only knows that on that screen where the receiver channels move, that something that happened in this box made that channel 5 move. I was the one that had to decide that channel 5 was the ARM channel. Now, on your quad, evidently, channel 6 is the ARM channel. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so instead of 5 being the ARM channel, channel 6 is the ARM channel. So what we need to do is we need to say, okay, the quad is going to do its arming deal on the value of channel 6. So what switch do I want on my radio to arm it? So I go into my radio, I find channel 6, and assign the switch that I've selected to arm to that channel.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying is if you can't change this, then you're going to have to match this to it. You have a choices at either side, either the quad or the radio, to make any channel you want do anything and assign any control to any channel. And then on the other side, you have to say, okay, well, I know over here I assigned the ARM channel to channel 6. So when I get to the quad and I get to that modes page, I better set that arming tab to aux 2 or channel 6. because the arming, the arm tab to aux2, because the signal that the radio is sending and the switch I selected is going to change the value of aux2 or channel 6. And I need to tell the quad that that's where it's at. That's where the information is at.
So, Mitch, Ed, you need to pick Bob's brain and see how he did it.
Well, I mean, that's the part I don't understand is like what he set up as arm and disarm, the switches I don't know. Again, Mitch is saying that betaflight doesn't know a crap about SF or SA. All I'm telling you is I was able to get the arm and I was able to fly it using the switches he said he set up.
Well,
but yet I copied a model.
But see, evidently, Bob doesn't understand the relationship either. So
can I ask you a question, Mitch?
If
before
something
you
happened
go
to work,
far?
it was a lucky guess.
Is it possible that Ed copied the model and it didn't take because of different flight controllers or anything like that? No.
No. When you copy a model, it has nothing to do with the quad. It has nothing to do with flight controllers. It has nothing to do with anything. It's only this switch controls channel that. That's all it is. It's so simple. And when you try to think that the quad has any clue about what's going on in your transmitter or how it's set up, that's where you get screwed up.
I get what you're saying, Mitch. I do.
Yeah. The quad doesn't, and the radio doesn't know what the quad's going to do with channel 5. See? All I've done with the radio, when I say I want channel 5 to be mapped to switch SF, all I've said is that channel 5, when I move switch SF, channel 5 moves. And that's the extent of it. It doesn't know that whether that's going to arm, make the beeper go, turn the LEDs on, has no idea. It just knows. The radio doesn't know shit. The radio knows this channel is controlled by this switch. That's all. You have to decipher all that in betaflight on the other end and say, okay, I know, because I set up channel 5 as the arming channel, that I need to go into betaflight into that arming tab, tell it channel 5 or aux1 is where the arming channel's coming in, and then I need to make sure the little dot moves, and then make sure the area where it's going to be on or true is contained somewhere in that yellow bar by moving it around or making it bigger or smaller. And that way I followed through. I started with the radio, said I'm going to use channel 5 as the arming channel. I'm going to map switch SF to it. Done with the radio. Go over to the quad, look at betaflight, go to the receiver tab, move the switch that I said I want to arm, and make sure channel 5 moves. And then go to the modes tab. Now what do I want that to do? I want it to arm. All right, let's find the arming section. Add a range. Again, select the proper channel to control that arming function. And then set the range limits of where I want it to. And you could have 4 different things wrong, Ed. And until you get into betaflight and take a look, you have no idea how he's got it set up. So you either need to get a new flight controller for that thing or just forget.
Ed, is it fair to say that what you have on your bird, he has on his?
What do you mean?
Switches. The way he flies now, due to the way he had it set up, is the way he flies all his birds. So he would know what your baby hook R is now. What switch does
all you need to know is what switches he uses and for what functions on his quads. Does he use which channel does he use to arm? Is it channel 5, aux1, aux2, aux3, or aux4? Which channel does he use for modes? aux1, 2, 3, or 4. Which channel does he use for the beeper? 1, 2, 3, or 4. That's all you need to know to set.
I know all that.
And then you can set. Then you should be able to set your radio up.
Reset it
to match that. Okay, which switch you use to control aux 1 or 2 is irrelevant to his setup.
Because the mixer takes care of that.
Correct. It doesn't matter if you have a different arming switch. All you want to know is if he uses channel 6 to arm, then you want to know how to control channel 6 with your radio. And that'll be the arming channel. And if Betaflight is looking for that, you can assign any switch you want to it. You don't need to use the switch he uses for arming. Use the one that you always use for arming.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Try that.
Right.
Play around with it. Yeah.
So I put all the parts in the DeLorean, right? Plastic, it looks stainless steel. Looks like it's going to be fun. But my way of hiding from ADSB is building all my race drones into micro flying DeLoreans, so when the police come, I can say it's a toy. It's going to be a 4S. It came in at 140 grams with a 3S battery. So if I pop it up to 4S, it still doesn't break the 250 gram weight limit. So it's going to be a rocket of a DeLorean on 3 or 4S. But like I said, when the cops come, I'm like, I'm just flying my toy DeLorean around.
Yeah.
Do you have that many issues with police, Dan?
I do actually.
Well, you go looking for it, man. You go if they're at the other end of the parking lot. You have to go over there and fly circles around them.
But I mean, I fly at the entrance of the mounted police and highway patrol. The entrance and exit at the park. They just. What is it about?
They
you
look
guys?
for problems here in Tampa. Our police force always is.
Are they bored?
Yes, very. They're extremely bored.
Wow.
I always give them something to do. Trust me. I try to, anyways.
Did you see that I flew by the stock exchange?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that was cool. That was
No,
cool.
I mean, it's a little bird, but still, it's just this thing. But nobody bothered us.
There was nobody there. It was just,
but I mean, but all right. So then we moved over to where the car was. There was a police van. I kid you not, 3 or 4 police blazers went by. Paul was flying with his refrigerator on his head and the antenna looking like all spacey. They don't bother us. I don't know.
No, you know, with those tiny little things, I don't think you're
I'm sure if I took the Acrobrat, they wouldn't have said anything.
Oh, if you were out there ripping with a 5-inch quad, screaming
5-inch
up,
maybe,
diving buildings, yeah, they'd be all over you. Yeah.
I'm just trying to avoid the ADSB thing by building all my race drones into toys. That's all. Like if they see it, they'll be like, "That's the coolest thing I've ever seen." They're not even going to think it's a drone at that point. Like,
I would laugh at a police officer that told me not to fly this because it's dangerous. Like,
be surprised.
Well, you know what Bruce over there in New Zealand has gone through. X-Jet with the CAA over there. He's got people always filing complaints on him, and they wrote him up for flying a tiny whoop in his backyard.
That's a waste of government money.
Well, and here's the thing: when he talked to the CAA guy about it, the guy says it's a hazard to aviation. He says, "How is this a hazard to aviation?" And the bureaucrat's answer was, "Because the rules say it's a hazard to aviation. Whether it's a hazard to aviation or not doesn't matter. If the rules say it's a hazard to aviation, then by God, it is a hazard to aviation." And that's how government looks at things.
That's why a lot of us are going to become sky pirates. We don't care.
I don't think they're, as long as nobody's complaining. The FAA doesn't chase people unless their complaints filed.
Kidding me? All the municipalities and the governments are broke from what's happening. They don't have time to start supporting FAA police to go drive around and look for.
No, I don't think I think you just do what you're doing. Nobody will bother you.
That's what I do.
And if a cop comes up and says you can't, you're breaking the law, don't argue with him. You might say, okay. I don't think so, but I'm not going to. I respect the police. You guys are doing a great job. Thank you for your service. I'll see you later. I'm not going to argue with
it's
policemen.
not even that. It's the people that comment that want to turn you in on like public YouTube channels. Like I had some guy the other day who was like, "Oh, you're so lucky the police didn't take you to jail flying at night without a waiver." I was like, "Are you aware of the hobbyist laws, my friend?" Oh
yeah,
my
first
God.
of all, you don't need a waiver unless you're
Right.
flying a 107 mission.
Exactly. 107, like, and he was the 107. I said, bro, obviously you overlooked hobbyists and how we function. And the
Yeah,
things
but
we do.
you still need the lights
Lighting,
that are
right,
visible
which
for
we
3
have.
miles. Yeah.
We have our LED statue, 3
He
statue.
just wanted to
lights.
sound important, like he
Right.
knows.
That's where the laws are stupid. They should have one set of laws for everybody. You know,
Yeah.
it should be you either can fly at night or you can't. I don't care whether you're flying a 107. This height over a building is another thing. If
Right.
you're a hobbyist, you can't go over 400 feet.
400
but
feet,
if you're
right.
a 107, you can go 400 feet over the obstacle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so stupid. I'm sick of all of it. Like they're making rules for no reason at all. It's like, oh my God, can you just settle on one set, please?
There's a reason. There's a reason for all of these rules.
Control.
It provides a useful means of employment for the rule makers.
Oh my God.
We used to say that, it was a joke. We used to say the economy is a useful means of employment for economists. And basically that's what it is. You got a bunch of government bureaucrats trying to justify their existence so that they don't lose their jobs. And if you're a bureaucrat who's a regulator, what's your job? Your job is to regulate. So by God, they're going to regulate.
Let's wipe
the more
all
regulations
the
they have, the better, the more secure they are in their job.
Dan, when you go out flying with just 2 people, police bother you?
It really depends on how Dan is feeling and
what does one have to do with the other?
Well, because mood has everything to do with how close I'm going to fly at people. So sometimes I go looking for the problem, and other times I just go out to have a little fun.
Oh, well, you know, you're like a Philly Junior. You're looking for the problem.
However, I don't go to that extent because I'm not breaking the law. So
well, I'm just talking about why you attract police like flies on poop.
I just make the curiosity peak in their mind so they come over and have a chat.
Okay, do you always, and I use the word always on purpose because of now what you just said, do you always have an extra set of goggles to put on the police face?
I do.
Okay, do you ever, what do you call it, invite them to, take a ride along?
Did you watch my last video?
I don't watch your video. No, I didn't actually. I watch your videos, but I didn't.
You should pull it up, man.
I'm going to show my own flights, Dan. If you don't mind.
Okay.
It's my show.
Tell me about it.
Go for it.
Dan, tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was very good. It was a healthy interaction, man. It was between, basically, I was being an ambassador, and they were being an ambassador for what they do. It was really.
I'm just pulling your leg, Dan. If we only have 5 minutes left.
Was it a
show.
clash?
You're
was
good.
it a conversation?
No, we were flying, and we're assuming somebody called on us. We were in an empty parking lot. It was nighttime. We were just cruising around a mall parking lot, and the police rolled up on us with their red and blues on. And when they got out, they started talking to us. Pretty soon they realized what we were doing. Next thing you know, we're strapping goggles to their face. I'm taking them for a rip through the parking lot, and then it escalated from there into conversations about how they could apply this to the police force. Then we pulled out the micros, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, if we had to go into a building to check something out, this would be perfect. We could just send this in and cruise through," and and they started figuring out ways to apply it to what they're doing. So it was a very unique, healthy, good interaction between us and them.
Good.
Why unique? That was good.
What's that? It was
unique.
It was unique because normally I don't get that side of them. Normally it's like, yeah, all right, just.
You know why? It's because there's
buddy.
120 pounds of less intimidating, ugly Dan staring them at the face. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. I'm just teasing you, but I don't know. Just be nice.
RC funds diversion.
I'm learning, and I'm a real prick that you actually
Mitch, did you watch my last flight?
Honey and the honey
I'm
and
getting a GoPro like quality from what she. No, I didn't see that.
Honey and flies. Anyway.
I
have no problems with the police. I talk to strangers. I put goggles on strangers. I even made a friend down by the Wall Street area, Nasir.
I mean, it's not that I have a problem.
And all.
We don't have a problem. Like I've never really. The only time I had a problem with the police was 2 years ago, and that was the 2 detectives that got called to the school. And I did a whole video about that because the guy said I was dive bombing him on his boat, which never happened. Because if you know, flying GPS, you're not dive bombing anything. So it's like The whole thing, it was by a school. Remember, it was River Hills Park. You don't remember that video? The guy that was out on his boat. I did like Carlos. I'm almost sure you watched. Ed, I
saw
know
that
you
Split
watched
S.
Yeah, you haven't been watching. I've been doing
I
all
watched
kinds
the
of
Split S. I watched
yeah, but I've
it.
been doing all kinds of loops and power loops.
Flippy floppies.
I'm getting distracted by the Dan man here.
This is that tiny
Yeah.
little Tiny Hawk 2 race. That makes a Tiny Hawk 2 look big.
All right, Mitch. Next challenge is the next flight. Next flight, we don't want to see props. Fair enough.
RC Division, I did not dive bomb the trucker. He was in his truck and he parked and he was a stationary vehicle. I followed all the rules. I was good to go. That's not my problem. He got upset that I was flying around his load.
Well, you know, there are some people that are just out looking for reasons to get pissed off at you.
Rick remembers that video. That was the day the 2 detectives stopped me. They came up to the school, and man, that was a lot of explaining to get out of that one. I was like, dude, I'm just at a public park flying my drone. Well, the guy down there on his boat says you were dive bombing him with your drone. I think he's just against drones. I didn't dive bomb anybody. Like, we're talking about a GPS platform. So first of all, it's not even capable of dive bombing anything. So I don't know where he got that from. And then it spewed into a wild tangent of accusations. And it was like, okay, I'm done. I'll leave. Thank you. You guys have a good day.
Yeah, you think that most police want to get involved in something this petty?
Yeah, well, they had to
Guy
because
in
the
the
call
boat
was made.
transporting
Yeah.
coke or something, Dan. That's what the problem was.
Yeah.
Spying on him on his off day.
You busted him transporting a kilo.
Yeah, dropping a body in the river for the alligators to take upstream.
Anyway, guys,
Mitch.
this Tiny
Yes.
Hawk 2 race is
Oh.
it runs it's a 2S, runs on 2 of the batteries. It was a little present from Rick Halber. I haven't really flown it all that much, but I got to tell you, I took it out today and I had an absolute ball with it.
Do you have the freestyle too still?
I have the one, the original
okay.
freestyle, but it's only the problem with that is you
25.
run out of video range so fast. You can only fly it real
Put a rush
right
in there
close.
one day when you're bored.
But this thing is got the same guts as the Tiny Hawk 2. It's got the better camera. The camera is tremendous in this thing.
Yep.
Takes for an analog, it's a beautiful picture. Boom, land, flip over.
Well, you're close to the pad anyway.
Yeah, I wasn't too far away, but no, I was doing all kinds of
Maneuverers.
maneuvers with this thing here.
Maneuverers. Hold on. Where's
Anyway.
Can I show Dan real quick? Oh no, not this one. Never mind.
Well,
It's getting late. It's getting late.
It's getting late, guys, and I don't know if we. I think we did a little. I think I did a little better tonight. Fewer interruptions and losing my train of thought.
Choo choo.
So thank you, guys. I appreciate that, and I hope that, although it was very, very basic, I hope some people got something out of what I was trying to explain.
I think Place It Here did for sure.
Okay, good. I just want to cover little steps. If you try to cover everything, how to learn everything there is to know about Betaflight in one night, it's just not going to work.
I need your following right now that's still in here to make a decision for me. Should we run this on 3S or 4S?
How many kV are the motors? What size
2S
moters
is
does
too
it have?
slow. Oh my god, I can't remember. These are like 16. Oh geez, these are the Cobra motors. These are 5,500 kV.
What props? What size props?
I don't know what I'm going to run on it yet. They have to be inverted, so I'm not sure what I'm going to.
Is it a 3-inch size prop?
It is. It's actually a 2-inch, 2.5-inch quad is normally.
Is it that big? Really? 2.5?
I would say, it depends. How I would try it on 3S and see how first.
Yeah.
Because 4S, it's going to
heavy.
give you more weight and.
Yeah, I mean, we're still, even on 3S, fully loaded, minus props, which are still going to be very lightweight because it's a tiny quad. I still think we're looking at, just 145 grams. That's really not much.
You don't think it's going to be wobbly?
No, I've
Because of the
already
4S?
built flying DeLoreans, dude. This thing is extremely well balanced how I have it right now. It's very well balanced.
I'll be looking forward to seeing it fly.
FR Sky?
I've been putting the project off forever. It's time to just commit and finish it. So,
Yes, sir.
It's been 5 years since I built a flying DeLorean. So, yeah, it's probably time to make a new one.
All right, Mitch, I'm going to be the first to say goodnight. I got
All
to
right.
stretch
Hey,
my back out.
thanks for coming in, Carlos. Appreciate it. And
Absolutely.
Good
Anytime.
to see you.
Ed,
Good to see you. Here, let
now
me
you
get-
have some ideas with the switches. At least there's some kind of hope, maybe.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
I'm gonna take off too. Thanks,
Okay,
Mitch,
Ed.
as always.
Take
See
care,
you,
Ed, stay
Dan.
out of trouble. Stay away from the law. Keep smiling and be
Yeah.
you, Dan.
I
love
am me. Everybody hates me. That's why.
That's
Oh,
why
we
I
love
like
you,
you.
Dan.
I
We
like
love
you.
We
Just
love
the
you.
way you are.
Everybody doesn't like my opinionated butt.
Stuff happens.
All right, my friends. Take care. Dan,
All right, toodles.
thanks for coming in, buddy. See you
Yes,
again.
sir. Catch you on the flip.
Okay. And that leaves me. Huh. And I'm going to take the rest of the day off. I'm looking for Spank here so he can say goodnight. There we go. So anyway, guys, thanks for coming in. It was a nice little stream. 2 hours goes by very fast. I want to thank my co-host. Thanks, Ken Hearn, for stopping by for a few minutes, and Chris Hope. Will, if you need, you give me a call if you need. If you get stuck with fixing your drone, you know the number. Art Carlson, thanks for coming in, and Ed, Carlos, thanks, and Dan, thanks all you guys. Appreciate the company. Agent K, thanks for coming in. Rick Halber, always good to see you, and yeah, thanks again for that little quad. It might turn into one of my favorite little quads, and I'll fly the pants off of it. Timeless Truths, thank you for coming in. RC Funds Diversions, good to see you. Ed, love my drones. Rick Halber, Agent K, No Fly Drones, thank you, man. Thanks for coming in. I don't know if Jody's still around, but if he is, yeah, there he is. Thanks, Jody. Always good to see you, and place it here. Ken, good to see you, man. Thanks for coming in. We need to get you in the chat here one day. Send me your email address to oldguyinadrone@gmail.com. I'll put you on the list. It's oldguyinadrone, all one word. Anybody else that wants to be on the invite list for the chat, just send me an email. And like to have some new people in here. Now that I'm a paid up member of StreamYard, I can actually get up to, I think, 10 people, which would be kind of cool. So, it isn't complicated enough with 6. Alexander Steele was in, but Carlos whacked him. So, Drone Crush, thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in, my friend. And anybody else that I missed? My eyes are getting a little fuzzy. It is late. So with that, I think we're going to call it a night. I'm going to get a little traveling music here. Yeah, I like that. There we go. And give you all the rest of the day off. Like I usually do, go play with your drones. And I'll see you around in the chats. As it stands right now, I'm still just going to do this one show on Sunday night till probably sometime in January, and then maybe we'll start the Thursday night thing up again. We'll see if YouTube is still around by then, or if they don't go completely off the deep end with stupid rules. So I'm going to turn it over to Spank, the monkey, to say goodnight, and I'll let him take you on out. Say goodnight, Spanky.